Welcome to Friday Fish Facts. I'm your host, Ron DeSantis. Today we're going to talk about my favorite catfish, a catfish I've been keeping for about 5 years, called the SYNODONTIS petriccola. It's also called the cuckoo catfish. Why is it called the cuckoo catfish? Well, in the wild, the petricolas replace cichlid eggs with their own eggs, and then those newly hatched petricola eggs will eat the cichlid's eggs. The SYNODONTIS petricola gets mixed up with other types of SYNODONTIS catfish, but the petricolas have got white on their caudal, dorsal, and pectoral fins. Located in Lake Tanganyika in Africa, a lot of people keep petricolas with their African cichlids. In fact, when they were first introduced to the hobby, that's pretty much only where you'd find them. Now, petricolas in the wild come from a pH of 7.5 to 8.5, so of course they would go with the African cichlids. But now we know that the petricolas can live in a pH with as low as 6.5. I keep my tank around 7 and they do just fine in there. Now that we know they can live happily in lower pH, many people keep them in planted aquariums, including me. As long as you don't have small fish that can fit in their mouth, they're a perfect addition to your community tank. The average temperature that they can be kept in is between 72 and 78 degrees Fahrenheit, but they can be easily kept in 81 to 82 degrees Fahrenheit. Your minimum tank size for these fish is a 20-gallon tank, but they like to be in groups. 3 is absolute minimum, but the bigger group, the better, so I would recommend nothing smaller than a 40-gallon breeder. They aren't picky eaters. They'll eat lots of food, flakes, pellets, live foods. In my experience, frozen bloodworms is their favorite. Let's do a little feeding here. Now, I have some aggressive fish in here, like not aggressive as in they're gonna kill each other, but they're gonna go hungry for food. So you gotta make sure you get the petricolas fed. So I gotta feed a bunch of pellets. You'll see the petricolas down at the bottom they're kind of waiting. But if I only feed kind of a few at a time, then nothing's gonna get down to them and they're not gonna be able to eat. And they will come up a bit. There's one guy, that's one gal, I should say. So even if they do hide a lot, they will come out for feedings. And Green Lantern there is kind of being, he makes sure he's getting all his bloodworms. Now they're more, you'll see them down at the bottom here, kind of down around that back rock and sponge filter. They'll scramble around and try and get everything that sinks to the bottom. So the clown loaches kind of go everywhere. But a lot of the fish will kind of stay in their spot in the tank. The blood parrots don't really come down that often. The archer won't. The rainbow fish do a little bit, but you'll see now the clown loaches and the petricolas are battling for what's going on the bottom. Okay, breeding. We all want to try and breed them. They're not the easiest fish to breed. They're not the most difficult fish to breed. But there is a setup that you'll need to do, and we're going to show you that setup now. Now, as long as your petricolas are adults, the water is clean, they're healthy, they're fed a good diet, then they're going to spawn several times a week for you. So what we've got here is we've got a clay pot. Big enough, the hole's got to be big enough that the petricolas will swim in and swim out. Underneath that clay pot, we've got another kind of a dish on the bottom there, and that's got a couple inches of marbles in it. And we're gonna take these out and we're gonna look for some eggs, and we're gonna see if they've got some eggs in there. I just pulled eggs out of here about 4 days ago, so maybe there's still some eggs in there, but let's have a look. So if you're serious about breeding these, you'll want to have them in their own tank. There's the marbles right there, because the other fish go crazy and the fries escape sometimes if I don't collect them and they get eaten instantly. Alright, so I always keep a flashlight on them. They're really difficult to see. I have to take all the marbles out and then I'll see what's left at the bottom. The fry are super small, probably half the size of a Corridora fry. Let's take these marbles out and see if we got anything. Difficult to see, but we just started pulling marbles. I can already see a couple of eggs right there and there. We'll keep going. So we do have some eggs in here. We'll see. I'm not sure if they're fertile or not, but we'll try it out and we'll put it in our hang-on right here, our little hang-on, the marina, with an air pump attached, and we'll start pumping them through and see if we can get some of these to hatch. I haven't been very successful with petricola fry. I've had, the first batch I had maybe 6, the second one I had 1, but I'm going to keep trying. If you've got better suggestions, you can put that down in the comments there. I've been feeding them frozen baby brine as soon as they're born because they're so small that they can't even hunt the freshly hatched brine shrimp. One of the reasons why I haven't been as successful with keeping as many fry, I think, is because they're so small they're getting through the gate here at the top of the breeder box. So I'm going to put a piece of sponge on it this time to block them in. Now they're a slow growing fish. One of the reasons why I wouldn't choose them for breeding fish for profit. After about a year they only get to be about 3/4 of an inch. That's one of the reasons why the price is expensive. Local fish stores probably going to sell them for about 30 bucks each. But nevertheless, still my favorite catfish. Join me next week for another edition of Friday Fish Facts.